KDOT at 10:30 a.m. Standard Eastern Time.
On what day?
Sundays.
Ta-da!
And I am Lucy Liu, Credit Conversations with Lucy, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Last but not least, I am Joanna with Real E-Awakening, airing every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about real estate investing.
Excellent.
Why Real E-Awakening?
Because one, it's about real estate, and the awakening is letting everyone know, making this public information of how you can get involved in investing in real estate and why, and also some of the pros and cons, because it's not easy work and there's a lot of risk to it. And so I teach other people how to mitigate risk and increase profits.
So you want people to be woke?
Yes, absolutely.
Really, she does. I got the real in there.
Really?
I got the real in there.
Yes.
The really.
E-Awakening, woke. Yeah.
Are you active in the community when it comes to gentrification, town hall meetings and things like that? Do you see that that's a place and a position opportunity for brokers, real estate agents, investors?
It is definitely open to everyone to attend. I strongly suggest that realtors, real estate investors get involved in it. It affects everyone. It doesn't just affect the people in those areas, because once they are put out, and not necessarily that they're being put out, they're being bought out.
Right.
They have to go somewhere, and they could be coming to your community. Whether that's good or bad for you, it all affects economic growth everywhere. Now, I invest in 3 states. So I invest in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. Virginia being my primary market, even though I live in Charlotte. I started my business in Virginia, and in Virginia I am involved in those community meetings. I work with county officials to handle blight properties and properties with code violations. They send me those properties and ask me to work with the sellers there, and I've helped many sellers that have the code violations, that don't know what to do with their vacant property that's been abandoned, is just causing issues throughout the neighborhood. I also, in Richmond specifically, we have a historic district. We have a couple of historic districts, Church Hill being one. I have sat in on their meetings to help preserve the history of those historic districts, and they have a lot of stipulations on what you can and cannot do when you're renovating properties there. And so I sit in on those. As far as the gentrification piece, I gotta say, investors, we are a part of it. We are. We are. I won't say a part of. It could be viewed as part of the problem and part of the solution. So I pride myself and my company with being a solutions-based company. We are people-focused and experience-driven solutions company. So we are helping those people to get rid of their issues. And that house could be an issue.
Until the transaction is over.
Say that.
Until the
Explain.
transaction is over.
Okay, tell me
Now
more.
you the devil. When they were going through, when they were behind on their mortgage, when they were behind on their taxes, when they couldn't fix the hole in the roof, they needed somebody like you and I to get them out of that situation. Obviously, if I'm going to get you out of that situation, it has to be a win-win scenario.
Yes.
But it has to be a win for me, or else I'm not going to move forward with the transaction. Therefore, from a pricing standpoint, I have to buy it at a discounted price point, which to them at the time was wonderful for them. We do the transaction, we close, they start telling their family members, ooh, I sold my property, which was valued at this, for that. And now they get all the ear from folk, oh, you stupid, ooh, you should have got more, ooh, they ripped you off, ooh, this, ooh, that, and now you're the devil.
That could happen, but I develop long-lasting relationships with my sellers. So not only do I help them during the process, most importantly, first and foremost, I educate them on their options, and I am not the only option. So because I am also a realtor, a broker, I know how to do short sales. I know how to do loan modifications. I give them all of their options And if selling their property to me is the best option for them, then we move forward with it.
I just know
Then
that in my
after-
experience, people have flipped the script
Mhm.
afterwards because they think they could have gotten more out of it and things of that nature,
Mhm.
and they choose not to no longer appreciate the help that you provided them.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I've done 200 single-family homes
Mm-hmm.
in Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
so dealing in that level of volume, not all 200 people after the fact
Mhm.
is going to be pleased with the transaction. Although going into the transaction, you were the best thing since sliced bread. Where have you been all my life?
Yeah, I haven't had the after effect yet.
Okay.
I haven't. I've helped those, some of them get into other living spaces that work better for them. I've gotten them storage units. Like, I've worked with several hoarders, first of all,
Wow.
that still needed to hold on to some stuff. And so that was part of the transaction, that I would also get them storage for 6 months or whatever, help them find another place, work with the county officials to see what they have available for free.
Mhm.
One lady that I'm working with now, she also was a hoarder, but she also was homeless.
Mm.
Her house was so bad that she also couldn't live in it. It was condemned.
Wow.
And it was filled from the floor to the ceiling in every single room and in the attic with stuff.
Wow.
Mm.
So she was on some government assistance. She had also had a wreck and broke her hip and had some medical issues, and she didn't have a job and she didn't have income.
Wow.
So what I did was, and this is a win-win situation. So I was buying the house. She could have taken that money and did something with it. She may have been able to buy another house, but it would look just like the house she left, but she
Mhm.
would have filled it right back up. But she would have lost all medical benefits from the government, all assistance from the government, because here she's getting a big check. So what I did in return was we did seller financing. I used the equity, instead of giving her that big check, she now became a lender based on the equity that she had. And I pay her every month a certain amount that's low enough for her to still get all of her medical benefits, get all of her government assistance.
Awesome.
And she's still, getting a check from me as well. Now, when I sell that house in about 2 months, she will have to take the check, but hopefully she will medically be better and better able to stand on her own feet. And if she wants to continue being a lender, she can, and we can keep going the same thing till I've paid out all of the equity that she had in the house.
Right.
But I think that's phenomenal, even letting her see that option.
Mhm.
Because some people don't know that that's it. They
Yeah,
feel
it even
like,
exists.
they buy, that's it. That's probably why they was mad at you.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't
would
know.
just be,
And he talked mean to him. Well,
hold that rope, so what do you got to tell? You dummy. Alright, here it is. Mommy. I think your whole mission in life is to make somebody cry. At some point in
That
time.
is so not true.
It is. Tears of joy and pain. Joy and pain.
The way you curse at people are large vocabulary words that people don't know. That's probably how you do it.
They're like, I really felt like
That's
all
right.
the consonants. You
ain't gotta talk to me like
And you let that with the whole word?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's all you got. I do. I.
Have you been in a situation where you've had to evict somebody and they did not want to be evicted? However, they hadn't paid rent for months. Not 1 month, not 2 months, but several months. And eventually it gets to the point where I've worked with you, you have lived rent-free for several months now, and I can no longer allow this to happen, so we're going to go through the process and get you removed. And then they get upset with you, although they've lived rent-free for 5-6 months, but it's still your fault. And then as a parting gift, they will take human feces and smear it all over the wall, and then they'll swing from the chandelier and break that, and then they'll have a bonfire in front of the fireplace because they have to cut out a piece of carpeting in order to put the wood, in order to have the fire inside the house.
Well, let me start by saying that is a very individualized situation.
Very specific.
That
Somebody Somebody was really mean to them. Someone was really mean.
You live rent free for 6 months.
Oh, he's still bitter.
It's still Barry over here.
I was the one that fired you. You still gotta pay your rent.
Somebody give him a glass of
saying.
Red Bull.
A triple ripple, actually.
So, for me, I am very professional, very business focused, and I know that my rental properties are my legacy for my children.
Mhm.
So I guard it, and that means I don't deal with it. I hire a property manager to handle all of my rentals, except for this one. The only rental property that I did not give to my property manager was subject to, it was a lease option.
Mhm.
So they were going to buy the property, and they were responsible for the maintenance. They lived there for 2 years. I've been very good to them. They paid their rent on time until it was time for them to buy the property, and they couldn't get finance.
Mhm.
And then it became my problem, which of course I provided another solution. Here's another lender. Let's work with this lender. And still they couldn't get finance. And I was like, well, I need to sell the property. I would have rented to them forever, but I was going through a little situation called divorce, and I had to sell the property. They would have been my tenants for life, and I'm happy with that.
So what you do wrong?
Yeah, always gotta be.
What did I do
In the
wrong?
divorce or?
I know, right? Wait a minute.
And the-
Something changed.
Shots fired. I told him when shots fired.
No,
just
she had
duck.
just, you know, we're products of divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not her. She
4 out of.
But when
4
I-
out of 5.
yeah,
right.
uh-huh.
But when you get married, you
Yeah, I'm
won't.
no, you gotta kill
Yeah.
me. You gonna have to kill me.
So everybody likes to point finger at somebody else,
Mhm.
but never point finger back at themselves,
Mhm.
because there's always something that they did or did not do
Mm.
to contribute to that.
Mhm.
So what was yours?
So I will say that we have children together, and I'm going to leave it at that. So what I did with this tenant, however, is I filed a...
Rick will answer the question, then the man in the moon.
Two-wheel. That was two-wheel motion right there.
That was Cruella de Vil on the 2 wheels coming through.
Yes. Everybody leave.
So as we get back on track,
Go ahead, Joanna. I'm with you.
so with this particular tenant, we had a good relationship. They were Seventh-day Adventists, and I had been Seventh-day Adventist, so we had a good spiritual relationship as well. But when people don't get what they want,
I'll let go out the window.
and what they
Talk
think
about it.
they are entitled
Deserve.
to,
Mm-hmm.
When they ain't paid you.
Thank you.
I don't understand.
And then they bring God into it.
Yes, if you was a Christian.
What would Jesus do?
Yeah.
Kick your butt out.
Okay. Jesus
What I'm about to do.
He turned
Render
tables on
unto
us.
Caesar what is Caesar's.
Okay.
You know, can't run me my money.
In the name of the Lord.
I got tithes to pay.
Okay.
You stopping me from stopping the Lord. Exactly. What are you talking about?
Kingdom business here.
This is. That's right. How dare you?
Love to do that.
So, a wise person always told me that when emotion is high, intelligence is low.
Correct.
So I
you
had to
smack
make
that hoe.
sure.
It all rhymes. It all goes together.
So I had to take a step back. Number one, remember why I have this property. It's for my kids. That was actually my daughter's rental property, and the money was funding her and her college. So I had to take a step back and remember the professional that I am. And I pulled out the documents, the professional documents that I prepared ahead of time before we had this spiritual relationship, before we became friends or had a good relationship. And this is what the lease says.
The
And
what
this-
if factors.
And this is what the option says. And you are outside of these things.
Parameters.
Yes.
Mhm.
So because I need to sell this property, I can either sell it to someone else that will keep you as a tenant, or you will have to go. And they decided not to pay their rent. because they felt like I had cheated them, and that's why they couldn't get the loan. And I said, okay, well, you have until this date to pay your rent as it is explained in this lease, and then you have a late fee. And I went to my property manager, I was like, hey, what do we do when we evict a tenant if we ever had to? And he's like, this is what you need to do. So I got the paperwork together, sent them the notice, everything by the books, and when we went to court, they were out of the house. It's just that simple.
I actually brought somebody to court, the eviction process. Obviously, she was a non-paying tenant. She thought that she was in the right and should live there rent-free for some unknown reason to me. So I'm there with the attorneys, and she's up on stage and things of that nature. And then the magistrate looks over and says, what's your name again? So she said her name. And your date of birth is? Okay, continue. So obviously he ruled in my favor. She was evicted, whatever, past payments, I get that. But then he called over the bailiff, whispered.
Oh gosh.
Next thing I know, she being escorted out of the courtroom in handcuffs.
Wow.
So now I'm real excited. No.
Oh my
You are so mean.
I really shouldn't be, but she owed me money, and
Not
she
your
had me
character.
up in here in court trying to justify why you don't need to run me my paper, and that I got issues with that.
Which cost
So-
additional money to go to court.
Thank you. So, you know, I'm with my attorney, so I'm like, what's going on? So I'm like, little kid in the candy shop, you know, who they gonna get her? What she do now?
Oh, my
So, find out, she bounced the check at Walmart.
They'll lock you up for that?
Yes,
Oh,
it's
yes.
a criminal
Oh,
offense.
absolutely.
Walmart filed
Yeah.
charges against her. There was a warrant out for her arrest, and she thought she was doing the most. And guess what? Your butt now behind jail. And you still gotta run me my paper.
And you was eating popcorn the whole time.
That's
huh?
right.
Just
Tell me-
sipping tea and eating
This is
popcorn.
good.
With some 3D glasses on.
Right.
Blue side and the red side.
Especially when people try to get over.
Yeah.
You know you wrong.
Yeah. I
You know,
understand.
no,
And then
no,
you're nasty about
no
it.
remorse, no, ooh, I'm sorry, cause, you could understand stuff.
Yeah.
No, I had a tenant for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
15 years, ran into some health issues, lost her job, couldn't pay. I worked with this woman, free rent, for 2 years. 2 years.
I'm sick. I need
2 years, rent free. Because she was a wonderful tenant for 15 years and never missed a payment.
Now, you did your due diligence, in my opinion. 2 years.
Wow.
Look at Gun. She like,
But if you miss one payment, you'll be in court eating popcorn.
Show up
You got
late
one
for the
time.
profit and growth hour. Next thing you know, you somewhere like this. That was the old him. The new him, the woke him ain't that nice no more. So
I'm real nice if you're nice to me. It's when you want to jump
He's
back.
supposed to be
I
nice.
ain't know him.
Always. Keep
we haven't
lying.
known him for 15
No.
years, so we ain't necessarily
Mm-mm.
gonna get much.
Are we gonna go back to divorce thing? You question her.
yeah, let's find out what you
Oh,
did.
I already know
What
based
did
on
you
this.
do?
I'm kidding. She took $20 out of it.
Okay. Please give some lunch money.
Didn't sign for it.
There was a requisition form that needed to be completed in triplicate, and it wasn't done. So she had to learn.
Wow.
She
She
gonna
would
learn
not
today.
comply. So, $20 meant a lot. Doing some things with it, that's
Ladies, you've been
return on
You
investment.
have officially been
I'm
warned.
just saying.
Absolutely.
Don't, mommy,
Okay.
don't mess with. Okay.
That's some great information.
Give me some Twix.
Valuable.
You did what? Put my
Joanna, how can people follow up with you? Or
Chill
find you?
So if you are looking to sell a home or buy a home, you can reach me at 704-755-5535, or you can email me at Joanna, Joanna, at remnants.res.com. That's REMNANTRES.com. I look forward to working with you.
She's so professional.
She is. Let's go to another professional, K-Dot.
No, she ain't professional.
She
Okay.
was wow.
does things into existence. Let's go. K-Dot. How
Who
can
calls
people
herself
find-
K-Dot though?
She does. How can
Why you
people
call
find
yourself
you?
K-Dot?
Because dot is the end, is the period, the end of it.
That's a
What I
wrap.
said is
period.
a word.
Period.
It's a
Period.
period.
Periods.
Period.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's the end. Put a tampon in it. It's over.
She stopped it
Periods.
up. She
Plug
stopped
the
it.
hole.
Done. K-Dot. How can people find you and listen to your show as well?
Every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Standard Eastern Time.
Excellent. Excellent. And Lucy Lou from Kill Bill?
Yes.
When is your next movie out?
I don't know about my next movie, but I am having an event, Credit Conversations with Lucy Live. Come on out. We're going to have a real conversation about what it takes to build good credit. So catch it on my website. That is www.kfssolutions.co. That's .co. And catch me on every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time for Credit Conversations with Lucy.
Excellent. We have such great educated
Mhm.
people here. Just so
It's
inspirational.
smart.
Except one.
Yeah.
All these fantastic women on the platform.
That's true. I understand, but the real work for food is just a motivator. You just sort of got to bring those people in. And, you know,
We needed a
yeah.
face. Say nothing else about the skills.
The women had it.
To go.
The women had
it. Right.
Let me yoink you.
She might like it.
That's 6 years.
We got 14 months.
Put a mouth drop over.
Exactly.
Look. Okay, got real.
Family, you tuned
That
in
khaki needs to looking good.
to the Profit
Little
Growth
crease.
Hour here on WDRB Media, the voice of the community.